Wow, that really sucks.
I worked really hard on this.
I worked pretty hard on the toilet before, and I produced some pretty substantial results. Doesn't mean the results are worth sharing with people.
I mean, I did mess up the face a little bit.
Is that the face?
No, that's the shoulder.
That's...
I mean, it didn't turn out as good as I was going for. That's right, I'll just start again.
Yeah. Go for it, start again. You'll be fine, I'm sure. But I mean, that page looks awfully big and intimidating.
Yeah, it's pretty intimidating.
And hard.
It's going to be pretty hard to get right.
You probably won't.
Yeah, I probably will.
Hey, I can do this. I've done this before. All right, don't stop on account of me. Go on. Is that the face?
No, that's not the face. It's crap, isn't it? I probably can't do this, can I?
Definitely not.
I should probably give up.
Definitely.
I guess
you're just not good enough.
If you're a typical creative person, you probably have conversations like this with yourself as well. In this video, I want to talk about some practical ways you can sort of manage your creative insecurity so you can get things done. But before we do that, it's probably best to talk about why we talk to ourselves like this in the first place. I believe that this self-criticism is learned. And in fact, many people with a lot of creative potential never even really get started because of a mean comment or joke at their expense in the early stages of their creativity. Artists in general tend to be a little bit sensitive. All of us have gone through these stages of, or these moments of criticism where as a result we've sort of learned to hold back or even hide our creativity, and some people tragically just learn to not try. Now for those lucky ones of us who aren't stopped in our tracks and learn to not be creative, well, we tend to, I believe, develop some habits that protect us from those feelings of hurt that we get when other people criticize our work. Specifically, we criticize our own work first before anyone else has the chance to. But honestly, in most cases, I believe we learn to overcorrect. And we tend to criticize ourselves harsher than any critics would ever even think would be reasonable. As a defense mechanism against being upset about our work, that doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. Actually, it reminds me of a story in Lewis Carroll's Through the Looking Glass. There's a specific part in a specific section that illustrates a little bit of what I'm talking about. It's time for a puppet show.
G'day, I'm the storyteller. I'm not that mean other puppet guy. I've got different clothes on, as you can see. So the story I'm going to tell you is about the White Queen from Alice in Wonderland. And basically, Alice was, I forget the context, but Alice was visiting the Queen or something. So this Queen lady was absolutely screaming her head off.
Hello, Your Majesty.
Oh, woe is me. Oh, my. Shouted the Queen, shaking her head about as if she wanted to shake it off. My finger's bleeding! Her screams were exactly like the whistle of a steam engine. Alice had to hold both her hands over her ears.
What's the matter, Your Majesty? Have you pricked your finger?
I haven't yet, but I shall soon.
When do you expect to do it?
Alice said, feeling very much inclined to laugh. When I fasten my shawl again, the brooch will come undone directly. Oh. As she said the words, the brooch flew open and the Queen clutched wildly at it as she caught the brooch. The pin had slipped and the Queen pricked her finger. Who would have saw that coming? And when Alice covered her ears to prepare for the screams that would come, they never came.
Well, aren't you going to scream now?
Why, I've done all of my screaming already. What would be the good of having to do it all over again? And that's the heartwarming and relatable story about the White Queen who was scared of a blood test prick, like a needle.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Oh, yes, I support you. We are thespians.
Hashtag related. Am I right? Yeah, okay. The end. Oh. Beautiful. Creative expression at its finest. Actually, in that story, there are two kind of interesting takeaways. The first is an illustration of how we sensitive types preempt the pain of criticism or the prick by putting ourselves in that
position. The second takeaway really is that we put ourselves too aggressively in that position, much like the Queen was far too over the top about how painful the prick would be when really it wasn't all that bad.
My finger's bleeding!
We prepare ourselves mightily to acknowledge that the thing that we're about to share, maybe with people, if it's worth sharing, is probably a lot worse than we think it is. One of the hardest and most hurtful things to hear or think about yourself is that you're not good enough. So not only do we learn to tell this to ourselves, but we also are more prone to read it in the comments of other people. How do some people tell you you're not good enough without actually saying explicitly you're not good enough? Usually it's pretty subtle. Usually it's something like, hey, do you like what I'm working on? Oh yeah, that's a picture. Maybe they say something that exposes our insecurities or self-doubt.
Hey, have you seen the drawing? It's sort of like that, but it's by this other artist who's better, and it's a better drawing. It's a really cool one. I'll show you sometime.
Maybe it actually is because they don't understand the skill or work it takes to work creatively in that way. It took me like 7 hours to draw that.
Oh, come on. It didn't take that long. You're having me on. You're having a laugh. You cheeky liar.
Or, and this has happened to all of us, myself included, they do just say it meanly.
Oh, wow, what a piece of shit.
So now we're reaching the practical part of this video and some helpful tips. That's right. Let's figure out some steps and mindset tricks you can use to not let it get you down so much. 1, stop comparing yourself to people you're trying to emulate. I mean, inspiration is great and all. It's really important to look up and ahead to go in those directions, but those directions are achieved through time and patience and practice. And if you hate the fact that you're not there yet, then being cross about it ain't gonna get you there any faster. If anything, it's gonna give you some baggage and slow you down. On top of that, if you're trying to emulate someone else's style, you're not gonna be able to do it the way they do it because everyone has a different style. Our styles are a culmination of all the things that inspire us, and the fact that the more we mix with the things we love, the more our style develops and is inspired by those things, but it's still objectively our style, not theirs. So it won't be as good as their style is to them, but it can be great as your style is to you. 2, because this is a top 5 video now. There's 5. Look back. Reflect. Too often we do that looking up and looking ahead at the people we want to be like, and we forget to look at where we've come from or the steps we've already taken and the improvement we've already made, which actually can be one of the most motivating things as an artist. Keep your old artworks, and every now and then if you're feeling discouraged, it could be really encouraging to just look at the archive and be like, whew, at least I'm not there anymore. Which wasn't that bad. It wasn't a bad place to be. You shouldn't be so hard on yourself. 3, remember that your eyes are improving as fast as your hands, and sometimes faster. Whatever your creative skill or endeavor is, the better you get at it, the better you will get at seeing what you're not good at, or how miserable your attempts to do them currently are. This is a good thing, weirdly. It feels crappy, because the better you get at something and the more you know that you don't know, and the more you know you can't do, which, I mean, being an artist is a real, like, tumultuous internal mechanism. So I think the way to surmise number 3 is just don't be so hard on yourself, because your ability to self-critique is actually a mark of improvement, and your ability to discern what you don't yet know and what you can learn next, and that's cool. Use that as a propulsion mechanism, not a hindrance. 4, move forward. Speaking of propulsion mechanisms, you're feeling a bit of self-doubt. I get it, that's fine. Just keep doing the thing. Maybe your recent attempt just failed. That's okay. Pick yourself up, do it again. Can't bring yourself to do it again because you're too depressed at your ability to notice your lack of skill. Do something else that is also creative and can refill your inspiration so then you can try again later. The point is, if you stop, that's the worst thing you can do. It's much better to take a break from the thing you're hating at the moment and do something else so that you keep moving, so that in the grand scheme of things, all you're doing is moving forward. It doesn't have to be something you're putting pressure on yourself about. You don't have to always be better and improve. It's more just like laying the road out ahead of you and be willing to take some swerves and hit some speed bumps, but as long as the gears are going. Every artist you admire has 1,000 attempts and failures for every single piece that they've done that has hugely inspired you. So it's important to remember that and just be willing to just forge ahead and work on 1,000 attempts and fail a bunch of them. Because one of them is probably going to inspire and encourage someone else on their journey. 5, love to fail. Okay, look, this one's a bit of a hard one because failing kind of sucks. But try and learn to see failure as a learning opportunity. I joke a lot on this channel about being a kinesthetic learner, but honestly, It is kind of the secret to my success. I have learned to love this process so much and share it obviously through my videos that I kind of provoke it. I kind of jump in ready to make mistakes immediately, because the faster you can fail, the quicker you can learn. It acts as a bit of a process of deduction. Don't do this, and this, therefore do this. Done. Great, it worked. And if you can frame it and approach it in a positive mindset, it can be something that acts as your fuel and helps you move forward. And the activity itself can sort of drown out those voices of self-doubt that want to stop you starting in the first place. While it is important to learn to effectively self-criticize in a way that's constructive and allows you to move forward, sometimes, especially if you're trying to be a professional artist, it can be a very valuable lesson to learn how to just shut that voice up so you can just get stuff done. Give yourself permission to fail and to experiment and to be vulnerable and to be proud of yourself. And only by doing those things can you actually learn and grow and create the things that you yearn to make and be the artist that you really want to be. Here's the other little secret. When you get there, where you now think you want to be, by the time you're there, you won't know you're there because you'll be looking further ahead. Like where I am right now, feel as insecure in my abilities and compare myself so harshly to others. But I also give myself permission to understand and acknowledge that if I sat down with my teenage self and said, look at the stuff I've done, look what I get to do, I would have been blown away and so excited and impressed and just happy. There you go. Thank you for attending my TED Talk. Actually, I'm trying something different with this video. Obviously, I've used a little bit of puppetry. I've done a few sort of motivational, inspirational videos in the past, and I hope that the way I've experimented and tried to portray it to you in this video is entertaining for you. If it's not, that's okay, because failing is okay. And if it is, well, isn't it lucky that I went out on a limb and tried something new and experimented and gave myself permission to fail? Ha! Look at this. It's all one big bloody beautiful lesson. Anyways, that does it for my little experiment here. Let me know in the comments if you like this format, if you think a few little videos like this every now and then would be interesting or helpful to you. Let me know what you think or where you're at in your creative journey and some of the things that have stopped you or some of the tools and mechanisms that have helped you so that maybe someone else can read them and be helped out in return. Look at that, we're all one big happy family. We all share that thing in common. We like to make stuff and sometimes we don't feel like we're very good at it. Keep at it, have some fun with it, and thank you so much for watching. There are more videos over there you might enjoy. Otherwise, that is it for this video. A huge shout, of course, to Adam Krutinger, who made these puppets. I'll link over there to the video actually where I unboxed and played with these for the first time. You'll love that one. Otherwise, that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.